Hey, what's going on? It's Patrick Lovell here, Truth Bombing Riffing on Friday, June 2nd, 2 o'clock my time. And I guess I'm at a point of acknowledgement that no matter how you carve it up, no matter how you carve it up, that whatever is going on in this sort of moment in time, this generation that we're in the midst of, the technology, uh, the imbalance, the insane criminality, the insane sort of vectors of power, which I'll call eyes wide shut, that are all a revelation of the crux of everything that I've revealed to you and continue to reveal to you, and whoever's paid attention to this, which is really hard to understand who has and who hasn't. I mean, I've got like what 7.5 million views on TikTok, and they've never translated to anything worthwhile. So I don't put a lot of faith in the fact that whatever I'm preaching is reaching the ears and the minds and the hearts of those that need to understand what it is that I'm revealing to you, through social media. And then, of course, Facebook, I gave up a long time ago because Facebook is designed for us to share happy times. That's what it's become, really, and that's really what it's all about. And because I'm trying to reveal very, very unfortunate circumstances that it's really not a good fit. So I gave up on that a long time ago, even though I utilized it for a lot of what it was that I'm all about. And I've put most of my focus in social media in the one place where at least there's a dialogue, and that's Twitter. But that's crazy insanity. And I happened to comment last night that I missed the days when I'd get on my skateboard, smoke a blunt, go down to a bookstore, and then go see a gig, and I would have this killer vibes and like meeting people and getting their energy and seeing people in the eye and experiencing something together. And that was my world for a long time. And now, I mean, it's just like a one-way mirror. Everybody can express to the world everything that they want to express, but unless millions of people are paying attention, if it's worthwhile, then you're not going to be heard. And of course, in this day and age, between all of the incredible talent that's out there, that I see all the time on my TikTok feed, from musicians to spectacular athletes to beautiful people. Yeah, for 20-second increments. I mean, yeah, sure, you can see why you'd want to pay attention to that, and animals and animal attacks and that sort of thing. And it's like, okay, like I've said many times on these truth bombs, you need to, I need to put a timer on. Otherwise, I'll lose 30 minutes before I know it. I can only do it for like 5-minute increments, and then that's it. And then I got to move on to other things and try to get things done. And in Twitter, I mean, it's a one-way mirror again. People want to just act and react and say what they have to say and being part of something, and that's regular people, and they're not seeing the forest for the trees. And I said the other day, is if the tree falls in a forest and nobody's there to hear it, did it fall? Well, of course it does, except for those who can't see the forest for the trees. And I'm in the midst of all of this stuff, and so I'm this producer of this epic revelation called The Con at www.thecon.tv. And it's going to be on there for another 30 days. And then it's gone from history. I just had a conversation with my long time friends, probably one of my best friends, a guy I've worked with for now 16 years. We went down into the pathway of telling these stories over the course of the last 12 years, really, soup to nuts. And, 13 is the whole odyssey, but more like 10 years in terms of when we first had budget to make all this stuff happen. And we figured it all out. And we put it all out there for the world to see. And we bundled it up and we got it on platforms that should have been seen. But there's so much overwhelming noise and so much distraction and disinformation and people who can't absorb anything that they don't know what's going on. They don't understand the corruption that we've revealed that's literally tens of trillions of times bigger than Watergate. But there's no attention. And the only way you can get the attention is through the variety of ways that I've already mentioned, or through some sort of algorithmic, manipulation, or, there's a lot of money behind it and relentless capacity to get people to join and to move things forward for things to penetrate right now. And maybe it's always kind of been that way. I mean, there was a consolidation of media, from my early life on, and there was this sort of, I don't know, it seemed like a facade of integrity that that we could trust the system. And there was plenty of bad stuff going on behind the system. I don't think anything close to what's been going on for the past 20 years. But no, man, it brings me great pain and suffering because I've sacrificed my life for the truth, and the truth is real, and it's lock, stock, and barrel. It's bulletproof, and I can't get it to the people, the millions of people that need to see it. And there's always a lot of different audiences of who we're trying to reach, but they refuse to understand what's going on. They refuse. They don't want to know. If you can lead a horse to water and you can't get him to drink, I mean that's the deal, right? And I had a couple of things that were just fucking nuts today. Like for example, I saw um, I saw Russell Brand and David Sirota talking about what I think reveals exactly who they are, and it really pisses me off to no end. And it's absurd because we were all together in a row on the Crystal and Kyle show, where Russell Brand made an appearance, and I made with my partner Eric Vaughn an appearance, and then David Sirota made an appearance, all in a row. And yet we weren't part of the club because David Sirota and Matt Taibbi and others kind of created their own echo chamber. I would, I guess, hasten a guess. But the conversation between Russell Brand and David Sirota today was quite revealing in one capacity. Um, Russell Brand revealed that, yeah, he's chasing basically MAGA clickbait because he wants to reach around and pull this like far left, far right sort of continuum against the the beast, I guess, which is what I reveal. But neither one of them understand what the full-on dimensions of everything that we reveal to you are, and that's really crazy because David Sirota plagiarized the con. He has a podcast out there called um, Meltdown, and he did it with Alex Gibney. And I went to Alex Gibney initially years ago, and they ended up basically plagiarizing the con. And if you saw the con, you would understand why. But not enough of you have seen the con. There was no market for the truth. We couldn't get it through. Could have been a lot of reasons. I think at the end of the day, it's because bandwidth. It's too complicated. It didn't come from the right people. It wasn't on the right platform. It didn't have the right voiceover. It just had me telling the truth. And that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that we discovered a woman by the name of Addie Polk who shot herself 5 times in the chest because she was having her house stolen. That reveals everything. And through her tragedy, she was a miracle that led to the only RICO conviction in the entire country that we discovered, which has got to be a 1 in a trillion, percentage. And ultimately, we found out that it was the sort of thing that the FBI was looking at, but the FBI didn't follow through because of all the corruption that we showed you in the con, and we got to all the right people, and nobody has seen the con. A lot of people have seen the first episode. They don't know what the second episode is. They don't know what the third episode. They don't know what the fourth episode and the fifth. And all of these tell you exactly what happened, which is the largest criminal conspiracy and cover-up in history that never ended. And it explains everything that nobody understands, and yet everybody's talking about. And I was compared to Captain Ahab when we started this journey because my partner, Eric Vaughn, was like, I really didn't fully understand the reference then. That was 13 years ago. What am I saying? It's like 11 years ago. But I sacrificed everything and I pulled it off. I've got the answers that could change everything, and nobody knows that. Nobody can act upon it. Nobody can get their heads around it. Nobody can come on board, a tidal wave populist crusade to purge corruption. Why? And then fascism is real. And corruption births fascism. And there's no way out. and we're going to pull the con. It's going to disappear from history. It's going to be etch-a-sketched. We're trying to get a petition signed. We have, I mean, we've got signatures. We don't have thousands of signatures, and we don't have thousands of people clicking on the con to, make it stay in existence. It's going to disappear from history. The actual revelations, the actual evidence, everything that proves the largest criminal conspiracy and cover-up in history, that shows you who's in power and why, and who covered it up and why, and what runs the show and why. And yeah, there's more stories than just the con, of course. There's all things 9/11. There's all things 20 years of war. There's all things energy. There's all things, everything post 2008, and then everything that's been happening since COVID. It's all the continuum. But the con is the structure of everything, and it is a con, and we're all buying it, and it's going to destroy us, and it's a sinking ship, and it's a Titanic. And redemption is the truth, and the truth is chemo for lies and deception, and the truth is the guiding light and the principle and the moral fortitude to move forward against the greatest trick the devil ever played, was to convince the world he didn't exist. I know I'm out of sorts. I don't know how to convey the frustration. I gave everything to this, and it crushed my ability to be what I am. It crushed my ability to provide for my family. It'd be one thing if I wasn't good. It'd be one thing if everything we did wasn't right. But it's both of those infinitum. It's a miracle. And yet, it's a nightmare. Does anything matter? Does truth and justice matter? Does the integrity of law matter? Does good triumphing over evil matter? No, it doesn't. Not from where I'm sitting. The greatest democracy in the history of the world, the greatest experiment in governance in the history of the world, some of the greatest achievements in the history of the world. We're on the cutting block. It's pretty much over. And yet, you don't know that. You don't understand how the game is played. Everybody wants to talk about how the system is rigged. Everyone wants to say everybody knows everything. Nobody knows anything. It's all there. It's all there in the con. And everything we're doing is the exact right thing to do. But it doesn't matter when the tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, because people can't see the forest for the trees. It doesn't matter. I wrote a poem once that just said, if nothing means anything to you, then you mean nothing. But everything meant everything to me, and I got it all done and did it right, and it still didn't matter. So maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know if there's anything more to say. Tragic.